Howdy on-demand folks. We're going to get going live with the body of our virtual table talk today in about 5 minutes. But until then, we got a little behind-the-scenes chat. We wanted to give everybody a chance to get into chat because today is very special. We have Andrew from Foundry VTT, and he's giving away free keys. So that's the awesome thing. Obviously, if you're watching this on demand, it's been too late for you. But Foundry is celebrating their birthday celebration, and they've got a bunch of stuff like all week long. So check out the Foundry channel. Plug that while we're waiting, Andrew. Where can people find Foundry and all the other fun stuff that's going to be going on this week?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So the website's foundryvtt.com, but most of our social engagement for our anniversary/birthday celebration that's happening this week is on our Discord server, which is discord.gg/foundryvtt. So it's pretty easy. There's also a link to it at the bottom of our website, which is foundryvtt.com. There's a link to Discord right at the bottom.
Yes. All you programmer types love the Discord. The Amy got me onto the Discord now, and we set up.
We have you there.
Right, we set one up for like our virtual convention when we did Halloween, and we still have it. But I like old school bulletin boards, because like they don't move, they're static. And Discord is the chirpiest program ever. If you don't go into it and dig in deep and find like the turn off notifications,
muting,
even when you close it, you have to go into like. Was it Control-Alt-Delete and then like Task Manager and like kill the process, or it will still be like in the background like bleep, bleep.
Yeah, I think that's
insane in the morning.
I think our community especially loves that we're doing a lot of things, and they don't always especially love that we ping them to tell them that we're doing a lot of things. But such is the life of operating, I guess, a community Discord for a product, is we let people know when we're doing great stuff. But They've
also got good access to you, though,
well,
right?
Yeah, we try and be really engaged. And so if you're interested in Foundry, or if you're already a user, definitely consider joining our Discord community. It is really big. It's like a little bit overwhelming at times, but it gives you a great chance to interact with us, every day and chat with the team and ask questions, get help, stuff like that.
Wow. The Milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, but mentioning Foundry brings 152 people for the first 3 minutes of our stream to the yard. I guess folks are hungry for those 2 free keys. So the lovely Chelsea is going to be collecting people's comments and questions as we go. And so if you guys ask a question or you're in chat, in the middle of the show, we will be doing our giveaway. So that'll be awesome. You have to be here, be present to win. So stick around and claim when we do the drawing. If you're not here, we will rapidly forget you ever existed and move on to giving the key to somebody else. Not to be mean. It is. That's my job, though. I got to be harsh.
It is. It's okay.
It's tough to give away free stuff, right? Like, free is like the hardest thing to do in any kind of thing. So, oh my God, so many comments. Look at all you wonderful people. So, I think
so many comments. I'm trying to catch up. I was trying to say hello to everyone. It did not work.
Yes, NE2 LDO. We are giving away 2 free keys to Foundry today to celebrate their 1-year anniversary, the birthday. Can we sing for Andrew? Is that what we're gonna do? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Foundry.
Inspiration all around.
Or
bennies, I should say. I guess,
we do both. So Savage Worlds has the bennies, and then we have inspiration tokens for like super bennies if you're really cool. And wow, so everybody who's here for Foundry's amazing. We've got some amazing actual plays that we have filmed within Foundry this last week that will be coming out sooner versus later. And then this Wednesday, tune in this Wednesday evening. We're going to put it up on our Twitch schedule while we're doing this stream. We are doing a live Flash Gordon actual play. And Cheyenne is our game master, and he installed all the modules. Like,
oh my God. That blew my mind when I saw the list of mods he had.
Maybe 25 to 75, somewhere in there. Maybe 50.
It was like 80.
Oh my gosh. He is ready. It's going to be excellent.
This is the point in time where my Discord moderators post the GIF of like, those are rookie numbers. You got to get those numbers up. McConaughey, like.
And the amazing thing is, like, it still worked. I mean, I've never had an application where you install that many different modules and it didn't just like all come crumbling down like a volcano.
No. Yeah, it runs smoothly.
It may. It's not guaranteed when you get into that kind of territory, but yeah, no, I think we've had a lot of love interacting with our community developers and have them building cool stuff that for the most part plays nicely with everyone else. And I think that's we've been really fortunate to be able to, create that kind of environment.
So Andrew, first question of the day. How many modules do you personally use? And we'll let Chelsea get back screen so she can handle and wrangle the mods without having to, smile at you when you ask stupid questions. Oh, but ask stupid questions, please. No questions out of bounds.
All the questions that I can. We're going to try to get everything, but I have to wrangle 3 other people in this from behind the scenes. So please be patient with me. We'll get to your questions. I'll see you guys later.
So welcome to Virtual Table Talk, folks. We have with us a very special guest today, Andrew from Foundry VTT, and of course our own Dr. Amy, who is the amazing leader behind all the wonderful things that you guys are seeing coming out for the Pinnacle products. And I mean, man, there's a lot this week. Like the Tuesday email is kind of full with stuff from Foundry. So tune in tomorrow for the Tuesday email, because we don't even have time to talk about all the amazing Deadlands and bundles and maps and all that stuff that's coming out, because we've got Andrew here to celebrate the 1-year anniversary, the birthday of Foundry VTT. Happy birthday. Congratulations on being as awesome as you are at only 1 year old. Like,
yeah, it's amazing, right? I don't know, it's so surreal. I think it's really hard for me to conceive that it was just a year ago. I mean, I'm sure everyone can sympathize with how like the last 12 months have been a little bit of like a black hole of time passing strangely.
It's a thing.
And so, yeah, it's so weird to think that it was just last year that we were releasing the software, but like it was. And it's amazing that I guess it's amazing that we made it to 1, but it's also amazing that it's only 1. So I don't know. Yeah.
I assume we worked on it before that too, right? Like, it hasn't just been a year for you, right?
As with any piece of software, there's a long development time that goes into, when you release the software. But I think if we're going to celebrate birthdays, we should celebrate the birthday of the release.
Totally.
The time in the oven before that was about 1.5 years. I started working on it in August 2018. So that's the kind of the chronology, but yeah, it's been amazing. And I think, having seen how much exciting stuff happened in the first year, it makes me really feel like so excited about this being a thing that we'll have a year 2 and a year 3 and beyond. And so I'm just like so privileged and happy and all of that it's gone so well. So thank you for the wishes.
It's awesome to watch. It's cool to see how many people chime in and say nice things and contribute to the community. Like that takes work and effort to build. And so, it's a huge, feather in your cap to have accomplished.
So we're giving away two keys this stream. So ask your questions, folks, and you'll be entered in to get one of 2 free keys. So there'll be 2 more Foundry users from this stream alone. But do you have a ballpark? Like any 2LDO asks, do you know how many? Oh no, there's a good question right before that. How many people have actually joined Foundry? Do you know, like, ballpark what your user base is?
Yeah, I do know. Obviously, like, I hate to like be cagey, but obviously, like with our business model. So for those who don't know, Foundry's, it's pretty cool. It's like a one-time purchase to get a license key that you can use for yourself and your group. And so only one person in the group needs to own the software. The whole table can use it. And, it's a one-time purchase. So you don't have to subscribe to anything. You don't have to, buy expansions or anything. You just buy it once and then you own it. And the cool thing about that is I think it's a really nice business model that makes it easy for people to pick up like a tool that they can use at their table, and a tool that just keeps getting better over time. The tricky thing about that business model is that like the number of people who have bought Foundry it's a known number. I definitely know what that number is, but it's also really closely tied to kind of our business model and our like financials and stuff like that. So I'm a little bit like it's done really well. We've had like a ton of really great customers that have purchased the software, and more than enough to support the business and more than enough to make us feel really happy about the way that we're growing. We had actually more license purchases in the second 6 months of the first year than we did in the first 6 months. So the software is like continuing to grow really strongly, which is a really exciting thing.
That's fantastic.
What he's
Amy.
saying. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, Amy. Yeah.
I was just going to say you'd have to date him longer to get his digits, is what he's saying.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's right.
Call me. So when do you get off work?
I don't these days. It's
I was going to say that's like the number of hours you
work.
must put into it. What do you do in your off time?
Well, I recently moved at the beginning of the year. And so I'm in this great new house closer to my wife's family. And, so we're spend time with family and, kind of getting the place how we wanted and, mowing the lawn, like boring suburban stuff, I guess, when I'm not coding Foundry. But no, but like, I obviously have things going on outside of the job. But on a personal level, my hobbies now overlap a ton with what I'm doing professionally. And I'm sure that it's the same for both of you as well. It's like, we're so lucky to be able to work in a space that's the things that we love to do outside of work. And so, I love to go play some role-playing games or, play some computer games. That's obviously a little different, but, I definitely like have hobbies outside of just working on the software, but it does really take up a lot of my time. So, less.
How did you get into gaming originally? Have you been gaming a long time? Longer than coding or vice versa?
Honestly, about the same, really. I sort of started coding and started playing role-playing games sort of late in high school, which means I kind of came to it a little bit later than a lot of people. But, I didn't grow up to that point with family or a close social circle that was like really into role-playing games. So it was kind of like later on in high school, and then much more like when I got to college and sort of, had friends that were really into playing games. Like that's when I kind of started to spend a lot more time on it. And that's about the same point where I really started doing a lot of, coding and software development type stuff. Always as like a side hustle though. But
so here, good question from Stradvar. Does it ever get boring having your hobbies as your job?
I think boring is probably not the right word. There are other emotions that sometimes give you tension about the fact that those are so related. Sometimes I have anxiety about having my hobbies so related to my job. Sometimes I like just get frustration about, not being able to have, something that's different but that's rare. I mean, I think like it would be really wrong for me to make it sound like this is like some tough thing. I'm really very lucky. And I think I'd like to acknowledge that, it's really awesome to be able to work in this space and love what I'm doing. And so, no, I don't get bored.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I chose it over something else, right? So as a recovering academic, right, like the difference in the community is huge. And I mean, people in the TTRPG industry are wholesale decent people. I mean, like the amount of like decency and compassion and support and openness is profound. There are not many other fields where you can say that about people, and it's huge and it largely accepting, right? So like the diversity and inclusivity of the environment is super huge for me too.
That's really true.
I think you also like, I think when you have a deeper relationship with the hobby when you take it to a business level too. I mean, or any other kind of like more serious level that, I think you see things you don't normally appreciate. It's not just a side hobby. I mean, you start looking at the industry and industry trends, and you start looking at like, you have to care more about other interests than your own in the hobby too. So I think
Definitely.
that, I mean, I compare it to like, I did Frisbee competition with my Border Collie, and it's weird. Like having a pet is great, right? I'm not going to diminish anybody as a pet, but when you have a competition pet, and they are the ones who love it, and they're the athlete, and you're just like the schmuck who throws the disc, right? It's an entirely different thing. Like you have something else to be proud of, just other than your own participation, and so you have this relationship with the whole activity that's very different. So I think it's similar, kind of having working where you play just allows you access to a different level. I mean, it's just different. It's not not better or worse, but I mean, I think a lot of it's better actually. I think a lot of it really is better. I mean, the downsides, I can't think of too many, but
it's coming at it from a different angle, I think, too. I don't know, Andrew, for you, I mean, especially for programming, it's like, how do you take these things that are visual or physical, dice and game systems and books and things like that, and turn that into something that my computer can do, right? Like for people who don't do coding and things like that, it's just magic, and like being able to see the backside of that has been super interesting for me, because I think about the game systems very differently too, right? Like, because playing them and having them as something to read is very different from having a machine be able to do it for you, right?
I think I've always had kind of two different brains. I mean, everyone does to a degree, but I think for the most part, I view myself as a very kind of analytical, quantitative person. And I think that I never would have actually gotten as much into programming and into software development if that weren't the case. I think it's like the structure of it, the kind of the orderliness of it that is just so appealing to someone who's a little bit compulsive, I guess, in that regard. But I've also always had as hobbies things that are very much more like expressive or artistic, whether it's trying to do acting badly or painting Warhammer minis or putting together
creative stuff.
Yeah, traditionally creative stuff. And I think that the kind of wonderful and perverse thing about virtual tabletops is it gives you a framework for trying to bring orderliness to that creative process and kind of marry the two in a way that isn't actually horrible. It's like it's not awful. And I think being able to support all of the creativity and the creative media that people are using for playing role-playing games online, but then being able to do that in a very structured and quantitative and software driven way, it's super cool to me. And so I'm really happy to sit at that intersection.
These are two softball questions that kind of carry on to that. So we've got one from Laughing Out Loud. It says, how does it feel to create something people love? I love questions like that, right? It's so much nicer than the kind of questions I end up getting, like, why are you here? Why are you still here? Do we have to get another restraining order for you? And second question from Hasbro. When you started working on Foundry, did you think it was going to have such a huge community grow around it? And again, be sure to plug. We did it in the pre-show, but this is a great time to be sure to plug where people can find you, the Discord and all that good stuff. So how does it feel to have something people love, and tell us how wonderful you think the fans are?
Well, I guess the second one is probably a little bit easier to answer because of course I didn't expect this. It was a huge surprise, and it radically changed my life plan, to be perfectly honest. Like, I had a career, I had a profession that I was working hard to pursue, and making a virtual tabletop was not on the horizon. It was like I'm gonna play around with this idea as a hobby, as like an idle thing to fill my evenings and to see if I can make something that I think is interesting or neat. And no, it was an enormous surprise. And I had to adapt to that. I think there was a big adaptation period of like, how do I get serious about this? Do I get serious about this? And that was tough.
Shift in focus. Yeah.
But then the other question is like, how does it feel to have made something that people love? I mean, obviously that feels fantastic. And I hope that everyone here is to a degree creative, or probably you wouldn't be watching this stream. And so I think everyone here probably has at some point the opportunity to share something that you created with someone else who loves it, whether it's you're, running a game, a role-playing game, and your players just like have that delight at encountering something that you create for them, or whether it's something that's more of like a product or something that you're doing professionally. But like that's an amazing feeling, and being able to have that be part of what I'm doing, and then be self-employed and be autonomous and be able to focus on that. That's awesome. It's really great.
It's cool too to see the like concrete results of it, right? There's so much work that happens in the world where it's kind of intangible or invisible in a way, but these, it's like you can point to something, look at the thing I made, and people can use it. And that part for me is super cool, to be able to look and have people use and see the things that have been created. Oh, we lost you, Chris.
Of course, I always get paid to do
that was the most brilliant insight. My mind is blown.
Yeah, and chat will never hear it. Chat will never hear that wisdom. It's almost like the word of God. That once you heard those words, it's your life changes.
Summon the elder one.
Yeah. Oh God. Yes, that would happen. That would solely be. I mean,
that's what Latin, I would do.
I took Latin in high school for specifically that reason. I've been really trying to, like, if you don't have friends, you kind of have to summon them, and I've been trying the rest of my life for this. And I own Amy today. Apparently, I found the right button to push. So Al Victorian asks, "What's your attitude towards playing face to face versus on Foundry?" And I'm going to chime in that you can do both. You can use Foundry and other BTT to play face to face. They are fantastic at the table tools. But do you consider these two options competing, complementary, or exclusive? Good question, Victoria.
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I don't really think they're competing in a strict sense. And, Chris spoke to this, in that you absolutely can do both. I think to a certain degree, they are competing in that if you have a great group of friends that are within easy driving distance of you, I think in a way you would be foolish not to get together and play face to face. I mean, if you have the ability to do that, it's just awesome to be able to hang out with your friends in person and roll dice. I think virtual tabletops aren't necessarily about trying to say that mode of playing is bad, here's the new thing. Like, that's not what we're trying to do, I think it's about saying, like, here's a new way you can experience this, whether it's because your friends live in a different state or in a different country or entirely across the world, or whether it's because you'd like to bring some cool technology to your in-person game where you can use the software to create storytelling experiences for your players that you can't as easily do with just the physical materials that you have on hand. I think, when I run an in-person game, and I'm not right now because, as I mentioned, I moved. And so I'm kind of needing to try and think about, can I reboot that? Can I, are there people around here that I can, get something going with? But when I run an in-person game, I love having the virtual tabletop up on the TV on the wall and use it to show and to play music and to, bring those experiences to the group. But it's not necessarily a competing thing. It's just more like, what's the right solution for you to have the best experiences with your players? And in some cases, a virtual tabletop is going to help you do that.
Yeah, and Amy's talked a lot about this in some of our previous episodes, just about how nicely built the books are. So when you import your books, they're very handy as a tool. And you can easily find what you need either with the search function or with the links, even faster than kind of just pulling up a PDF. And I mean, I love Adobe products, but the PDF support is a little obnoxious, especially when you have
blazed in the comments.
I know, right? I mean, I love all yeah, right. But like, for me, like, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got like 12 PDFs open right now, and it kind of bogs. But the nice thing about Foundry is, like, when we were playing and managing one of the VTT or one of the actual plays this last week, was we had a player who isn't as familiar with Savage Worlds, and she had a question about her, what is his power? And literally she just clicks on the power name and it brings up the book and you read the whole thing. And it's like, that's super easy. And even for players to be able to do when and then for everybody, we just hit, display to everybody, and then everybody can see that, in the program. Super nice.
Why don't I just share my screen real quick, and I can actually show what you're talking about. And
I was going to say, I'd be super interested to hear your take on the UI UX part of it, right? So like one of our design principles is about, getting more people into systems and making the bar of entry lower and reducing friction to have more fun, right? So that we can use things as a learning moment to teach people systems and how to use these platforms and things like that. So maybe hearing a little bit of your thoughts on that kind of thing, if you have them, would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point, and it's an area where we're still learning and still improving too, because as the software continues to grow in complexity, I think that the challenges of like, what's the right way to make it easier for someone to know, to learn what they're doing or learn how it works. How do you make it easier for people to discover those things? It's a constant struggle, and it's a constant challenge to make that work really well from a design perspective. And we don't always do a great job of it. And I think, there's a long backlog of things that we would love to do from a UI UX perspective of like making the software more approachable, easier to, have more intuitive workflows, have more flexible workflows. It's a hard part of the design that really takes time.
Yeah.
But in relation to the navigability of it, I think that is one of the areas where, and I guess I'll pull up like the Deadlands rules here. That is one of the areas where a virtual medium is just so helpful and so powerful, because, in a conventional print universe, not only are you limited by, the orientation of your page layout, you're limited by the sequential nature of a book, in that one page is always after the other. So you're always experiencing the content in the same order, which, you choose the best order that you can, that you think is going to be the best for most users, but that won't always lead the reader to the next place they want to go.
Right.
And I think that with a digital medium, I mean, these journal entries for Weird West are so beautiful. They just like capture the setting like so perfectly.
That's our Josh.
Being able to like just click on links and like get the rule for like how does it work, or to click on the chapter navigation and to go to the next section that I want to run through, and being able to kind of drive myself and take the choices or the paths that I want to follow in order to learn what I need to learn. I think the digital medium does a great job with that. You mentioned search, in terms of like you want to search for something like what do I need to know about the law? But there's also just the flexibility of following different pathways through the material, and having those cross links, having those references that can help you learn easily. It's something that you can really only have in a VTT. You can't have that in a print book. And so that really changes the game, and it challenges publishers like Peg and like others to, think like, how do we want to translate the book to the digital format? Because it's almost, in a way, it's a different product. It's not just take the book and put it in the software. It's how do we repackage the content that we printed, and how do we make that, how do we put that into the virtual ecosystem in a way that is even better than what you can have with just a plain book?
And
Would you say, go ahead, Chris.
No, go ahead, Amy.
I just was going to say, with some of the questions that come up a lot are for people who aren't familiar with Foundry, where do you think the foothold is, right? Like the information is there for them. We've tried to organize it in a way that's easy to use and easy to understand, but would you say that there are better ways to kind of get your bearings within the platform or not?
It's a complicated piece of software. And so I think that there can be a little bit of like a little bit of sort of shock upon first contact of, okay, I've installed this stuff. Like, what do I do? Because when you first boot up Foundry for the first time as a user that, hasn't used it before, you might not have these, scenes available. You might not have things imported, and you kind of have to, you kind of have to know the secret sauce of like, how do I get going? And that can really be pretty daunting. I guess my advice for anyone who's a new user is to try and work your way through just some of the basic concepts of what are the different types of pieces of data that you can create. We call them documents, but what are the different types of documents you can create in Foundry? And yes, you want to get straight to like, I want to run Deadlands, or I want to run, my homebrew campaign, using Savage Worlds. But as a new user, I think it's really worth your time to just sort of click around and go through each of the sidebar tabs one at a time. I want to create a new scene, just a test scene. And what is a scene? Like, how should I be thinking about that? What does it mean for me to activate a scene? What does it mean for me to have an actor like this agent? And how do I get the agent placed into my map? How do I do these things? There's a lot of like interface. There's a lot of different things you need to kind of know how to do. And so for any new user, I would definitely say, like, try and give yourself a little bit of slack. Don't expect to necessarily buy Foundry and be DMing your campaign instantly. I think, and it's on us to try and always reduce those frictions and figure out like what workflows can we build to make things easier for people, so there is less of a learning curve. But I think in acknowledging that there is a learning curve and expecting that is probably something that will serve you very well if you're coming to this, especially if you're coming to it without necessarily having a background of playing a lot in other VTTs. I mean, that can be a mixed blessing, to be honest, because like we don't necessarily try and just imitate or model what we're doing in the same way that other games or other pieces of software have done it. We take a new approach to some things.
Definitely,
and so in some ways, if you're coming in with this preconception about like, well, this is how VTTs work, we see examples where that actually can be frustrating to people because they're used to how it works in the platform that they know really well. But on the flip side, there's also a lot of components, a lot of systems that are, sort of common to how many virtual tabletops work in terms of like, what should I think about having a map and having tokens that move around the map? And what should I think about the concept of having like a digitized character sheet? So a lot of those concepts kind of, if you're familiar with those concepts, that will reduce the learning curve, but you also should be prepared to maybe challenge some of your expectations about, how certain things behave.
Do you want to talk a little bit too about how people can get support to help them get over that learning curve? Because there's a lot of support available.
There is a lot of support available. So, in terms of official Foundry VTT options for that, we have a wonderful Discord community. And I know Discord's not for everyone, so I'll suggest some alternative options in a minute. But our Discord server is discord.gg/Foundry VTT. So it's pretty easy to find. There's a link to it at the bottom of our website, which is foundryvtt.com. And our Discord community is so wonderful. They're so helpful. Huge shout out to everyone who's a member of the Discord, everyone who's a helper or a moderator. It really is a team effort. It's not just like the people who run the Discord keeping the users in line. The users on our Discord are the most helpful people that you'll find. And we're just so lucky to have people like that who support the product and who engage.
I love all your mods. They're awesome people.
Yeah, and I mean the team of helpers and moderators who help out, they're obviously champions that do a tremendous amount for us as well. But like having good mods alone is not enough to make a good community. You have to have great people, and we do. And so on the Discord server, there's lots of ways to get help with any sort of question that you have. You'll just get you might get nudged to like try this channel. This is the right place for you to get help with the question that you have, and I'm sure you'll find that to be really useful. You also can send us emails. We have a contact us form on the website. If you aren't getting what you need on Discord, or if it's not your thing, you can send us an email asking questions. We always have a pretty good fast response time to that. There's a wonderful subreddit, reddit.com/r/FoundryVTT. It's huge. They just celebrated an amazing milestone of 20,000 members on the
Holy
subreddit.
crap.
And it's also like a really, really helpful place where, you know, people are asking questions, they're posting their, you know, their own experiences and tips and tricks and stuff like that. The subreddit's really good. There's also a community-run fan site called Foundry VTT Hub. It's foundryvtt-hub.com. And I guess I'm screen sharing, so I can always sort of show some of these stuff. So Foundry VTT Hub, it is a very cool site that has lots of articles, it has forums, it has listings for all kinds of stuff Foundry related. That can be a great resource for you. And then I guess lastly, for certain game systems in particular, you know, for Savage Worlds in particular, Amy, you and the team also have done a tremendous amount to try and help the community with issues that come up that are related to Savage Worlds specifically. So I'm sure you would have tips on, like, when it comes to system specific areas where something is confusing or user needs help, you know, maybe there's some things you can suggest.
Yeah, definitely. The Suede channel in the Foundry Discord is one. There's a bunch of community groups on Facebook and direct access through the Peg Inc. Website as well. So if there's product support or things like that, there's a bunch of different community places. And Chelsea probably has the links to our other socials and whatnot.
Well, I just want to point out it's actually raining inside your game right now. Like
it is.
It is. Yeah, special effects.
There's a lot more we want to do with that too. I mean, I think we have some really cool systems that are designed to elevate the level of immersion that you can have when you're exploring a certain area. You know, I think it works really well with all kinds of different maps that you have, and I think like the way that the walls and the lights and all of that can work in Foundry, I think it's, you know, it's particularly cool, and it allows you to sort of bring an extra layer of immersiveness to your scenes. I love how this scene was set up with the terrain walls, and there's this sort of like long sunset over here in the corner. So, you know, I can like adjust the position of the shadows by changing where this light source is if you want like your map to look a little bit different, like
later in the day.
You know, like if you want to change, you know, or if you want to just kind of go to sort of like a day-night transition, there's things like that Foundry can do, where it can, you know, it can take your map to, you know, to a different appearance. Like you can go to nighttime, or you know, you can get a lot of mileage out of the same set of visual assets, and I think that's something that's really useful. And you know, as you learn the system and as you learn like how it works and what the things you can do with it, I think that, you know, there's a lot of great sort of tips and tricks and fun things that you can do to create experiences for your players that are interesting and kind of challenge them to have creative problem solving that's a little bit expands beyond just what you might have in sort of a theater of the mind type setup.
Well, like right now we're seeing like these are terrain walls, right? So you can still see the terrain object, but they obscure what's behind them from your field of vision. Then there's like walls where, you know, it obscures everything. And then there's like clear walls. So you have like, you can see through it, but you can't move through it. So like actual glass, like windows that let in light. So they're really, you know, complex options that allow you to really create this kind of immersive, neat way. And you know, if you import your own maps, you can apply all these same tools to your own maps as well as like the packs. And I think one of the interesting questions from before was like, well, you know, what's your plan for business if people only have like a single payment? So these, if you're a player or a game master and your players, you can buy stuff for your game masters. Like, you know, even though you can play for free, you can still get in on the, the gifting thing. Buying these modules for these adventures is really kind of where the next step is. Or like after you have the software, these modules come with lots of tools, lots of built-in scripting that really make running the adventures, super fast, a lot less time consuming, and then have all this stuff, pre-built in. So that's really kind of the next step, right? Like after you have Foundry itself, it's kind of what do you want to play with it? Where do you want to go with it?
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think that, in terms of like the business strategy, there is kind of a virtuous cycle of everyone kind of making the overall ecosystem as good as it can be. And I think, our part, we view that as how can we make the core software as high quality and powerful as possible so that there is a platform for, for creators, publishers to make content that is really fantastic.
It is a mutually reinforcing cycle, right? Like the more cool stuff we have there available, the more folks can get in and do cool things. I think that like the potential of the integration of in-person and VTT stuff is where I'm especially like super excited because there's so much room for growth, right?
Yeah, and it's, if you think sort of from a little bit of a nerdy perspective about the economics of it as well, it's really interesting because with digital media like this, all of the cost that the creator pays of creating an adventure like this, it's the same cost, whether 2 people play it or whether 2,000 people play it or whether 20,000 people pay it. You might, of course, if you anticipate having more users, you might put even more effort in. You might go above and above and above and beyond. But, at a basic level, it's like, because this is all digital, you're incurring the effort and the cost of just setting the thing up once, and then everyone can benefit from it. So the more powerful the platform is and the more users the platform has, the more of this sort of harmonic, cycle of goodness can be created when you have publishers and artists and creators who want to make this content for the ecosystem. And so, yeah, it's really fantastic to be able to support each other in that way and to build things that complement and reinforce and build up what each other's doing. And I think that is something that I'm really excited about. And as Foundry continues to grow, it gives me a lot of hope about, what we'll continue to see in terms of the quality of content that the platform can support.
Awesome. Before we get to our first giveaway, we're going to do 2 today. Interesting question from way back at the beginning. Pokey1 Mo Cow 7 says, what was the hardest part of making Foundry VTT? Do you think of a big bump in the road or anything super challenging or anything you're really proud of overcoming?
So there's a key technical challenge and there's a key human challenge, I think. I think the key human challenge was reaching the level of confidence and certainty that I actually did want to like fully dive in and commit to this, right? Because there was no assurance that Foundry would be successful. And so I think the hardest part didn't really have anything to do with the software necessarily so much as, how confident was I feeling about the choice to really do this?
It's like jumping off a cliff,
Yeah. Yeah. And so I think that was a very hard part. It was just kind of getting to the moment of commitment and committing. And I think from a technical perspective, there's things that are hard, but they're rewarding and that you learn through the process. Like building the new lighting system, for example, is one thing that was hard to do, but it was super rewarding to do. So suppose suppose we want this scene to be set at dusk, right? And I just change the scene to nighttime. And suppose our captain here has like a nice sort of a torch or something that they're using to scout out this camp.
Having the torch flicker. The bling on this one is in particular pretty sexy.
Yeah, it is really cool. I need to dial it down slightly because that's probably a little bit too much. But let's
torch.
Yeah, super torch. But as you have these sorts of like lighting animations and things like the shadows of the trees and oh gosh, there's like dead bodies in this camp and what's going on here? There's a thing, the Wendigo or whatever. you can create these things, and they're really challenging. It's really hard to do, but it's also really rewarding to do it. And I think like really fun to see it all come together. And so I think in a lot of ways, what's been hard about it has just been, not getting overwhelmed, making sure to try and stay balanced and stay structured in how we approach this, because there's so much opportunity. It's easy to bite off more than we can chew. It's easy to, not have the right level of quality, that we focus on just getting specific features done the way we want. I think a lot of like the project management, prioritization type stuff, that's really hard. But the process of actually building the software, it's hard, but it's fun. And so I don't really think about it in the way of like, oh, this has been really hard to do it. It's a challenge that's really rewarding.
You get to have that swagger. It's earned.
Oh, totally earned. And several of the questions, I'll just pop a couple of them up on the screen, are basically referring to like third-party support and kind of how amazing Foundry is about that. The Christian Serrano asked, of course, about Dice So Nice. So do you want to talk a little bit about just your process on like how third-party developers are part of the community, whether any of those things ever become into core? Because I know that's as any kind of business, having fan stuff become official is very difficult because there's like intellectual property issues and support and maintenance issues. And a lot of times you just have to like take over their stuff if you want to make it core, right? It's like, but a lot of like Dice So Nice, really fun. We've been using that one on the virtual the APs we've been doing, actual plays. So what there is a rather abundant amount of third-party content. What's the general policy on that, and how does that work with Foundry? If you want to touch on those kind of questions.
Yeah, good question. I think that there's so much synergy between what we're creating and what our third-party developer community is creating, in the sense that we really do support and reinforce each other's work. And I think that's really great. I think that's a blessing that we have that. There is a question about like, when should we be doing something ourselves as the core software? When should the developer community be doing something? A couple of thoughts. One thought that I'd call out first is that we could never move fast enough to satisfy people. If Foundry VTT was not open and moddable like it is, we could never keep pace with the desires of the community, in terms of like being able to implement features with the degree of flexibility or the speed that our community members would be wanting us to do. It just wouldn't be possible. And so I think you get into a situation where you either can kind of fight against that and say, no, we're going to do it ourselves and you just have to wait for us. Or you get into a situation where, we can rely on each other to make it happen. And so we can take advantage of the fact that there are developers out there who have the time and the resources to make certain features much better than we could make them, with the time and resources and ability that we have. And eventually, some of those features will end up in the core software. I think there's been a lot of success around that, a lot of nice examples of that happening. And when should that happen? I think it's often a question of like, what are the most important systems that the community really needs in order to have the ability to build new things and to do what they want to be able to do. I think there's a very popular and sort of, I won't say controversial, because I don't think there's any actual controversy around it, but there's a very important system for Savage Worlds in particular with cards. I think is a perfect example of something that it's incredibly important, having card support and being able to have decks and hands and being able to track your cards that are part of your game. And this is something that's super important for us to do as a core software. Like, we need Foundry Virtual Tabletop to have an official solution for this. But there's many things that, are desires for us to do at any given time. And so for reasons that some people will agree or disagree with, playing cards haven't made it yet as an official feature for the software. And that's something that's definitely missing. But our developer community kind of swoops into the rescue here, where they've built a really very excellent playing card support system for doing what the system needs as kind of a solution to this gap. And I think that's where Foundry having this open API that can allow the community to step in and fill gaps and fill holes that exist, it's allowed the software to succeed more than it ever would have if we were very protective and closed about like, it only does what we've programmed it to do, guys. Sorry, you have to wait on us to build that. And so I think we challenge each other. I think development of the core software challenges the module development community to do new things or to do things in a better way. And the development of the module community challenges us on the core software side to improve the way that we are, that we're doing things as well.
Well, I think it's also just a fantastic way to have. I mean, there aren't just 2 role-playing games in the world. There are hundreds of systems, right? And the more that people find these VTTs and find their home there, getting a passionate community of mod developers who can really customize stuff for the smaller niche games is really where it's at, right? I mean, that's a great part of the community. And even if some of those modules never make it into core, the fact that you can have individual developers make modules, and you guys are so receptive to that, really allows the custom. Even with I've seen some Savage Worlds settings that have their own modules because they have their own crunch inside, and that's just something that they as a small time publisher, you're never going to be able to really get the main company's bandwidth to custom code your gimmick for shipboarding and pirate games, whatever it is, whatever little tiny thing it is, or your adventure generator. But you can totally get the attention of a coder if you don't know one, or be the coder yourself and really bring that to your customers. So, I mean, that's just really exciting, right? I mean, that just opens up the door for a lot of cool features. And I mean, speaking of which, yeah, right. One of the cool features, we can actually do our first giveaway. We can use Foundry to do the giveaway, can't we?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would love to do that. So for those of you who have watched one of my Twitch streams in the past, you'll know the trick that I'm about to do. But if you haven't seen it yet, we're going to use the rollable tables system in Foundry, which is a component of the software that allows you to generate random and kind of procedurally or randomly generated content in your game, because you can set up a table of options, you can weight it, each individual result, you can have groups of results, you can have nested roll tables that allow you to have branching trees of possibility. It's all very cool stuff. And in this case, I'll use it to do a giveaway for all the folks that are in chat right now. So what you can do if you want to be eligible for the giveaway, all you have to do is be logged into Twitch so that you show up in the list of people who are watching the stream right now. So if you're logged in, I'll give you a minute to go ahead and do that if you're not. But if you're logged in, then I'm going to pull the list of folks that are watching, and we'll see. I've got 2 license keys to give away, so we'll go ahead and do that.
And there are over 275 of you right here now. So
nice. That's so good.
Andrew's popular. People like Andrew.
I don't know why, but
I mean, we got some really creepy comments at the beginning about like your exfoliation routine and how you sculpt your eyebrows. And I'm not going to ask those questions, people.
We will not objectify our guests in this way.
I mean, he's delicious, but I'm just not going to ask those questions. Like, sorry, cool your jets, you thirsty people. Have some water. Drink some water, people.
Hydrate. It is very important to hydrate.
He has got. He's mowing his own lawn. He is already happily.
How domestic! Yeah,
mowing lawn is fun, man. There is just something great about like the smell of freshly cut grass. Yeah. It is.
Or sneezy.
Yeah.
Oh, do you have hay fever? Oh,
I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a second so I can set up the table. But please continue. Just giving you a heads up on that.
Yeah. There's Chelsea.
Chelsea's back.
Y'all are crazy in chat.
Hey.
I'm trying to grab every question I can, and y'all are too fast for me.
Yeah, having 275 people is different than the normal like 3 people who show up to heckle the Landauer stream. So we're not used
I
to
love
this.
that somebody did ask. They're like, "Who are Landauer and Amy?" I'm like, "Y'all, if there's 2 people you need to know from PEG other than Shane, Jody, and Simon, it's Landauer and Amy." So
We
It's
do
cool.
bring
I'm
them.
happy to stay a hermit.
No. See, we're the Rice Krispie buddies now. So
No,
we're giving Andrew time. Right? We're stalling for time, right? So Amy and I share a love for Rice Krispies, and now we're mailing each other boxes of them across country because I found some brown butter Rice Krispie treats, and then
Yeah.
Amy found some home
Chocolate.
style Rice
And
Krispie
thick
treats.
ones, yeah. That's it.
So yeah,
Actually
we're
bought
sharing
stuff
this.
to make them. That's
Oh,
sweet.
hey, shout out to Cheyenne in the chat. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Cheyenne is in the chat. So Cheyenne, if you weren't here before, we were totally pimping your stream. So Wednesday night, let me go get the time on this because we need to be smart. Because Cheyenne, the amazing Cheyenne, who does, he is the multi-Hugo award-winning artist and colorist behind Girl Genius with Phil Folio, and the actual play is this Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. And you get to see Cheyenne running the Flash Gordon.
There have been costumes threatened as well. So
yeah, if you want to talk about eyebrow game, Cheyenne has some amazing eyebrow game. Do we even have a picture in here? Let's go see if we have a picture of Cheyenne with his eyebrow game. If not, I will find one and we will show off Cheyenne's eyebrow game.
Andrew can do his giveaway while you find eyebrows.
Oh, if Andrew's ready, man. If Andrew's ready, go right ahead.
I don't know.
Sir.
I am. Yes, I am.
Ooh.
I threw together a rollable table, which can be used to generate these sort of random possibilities. And we've got 237 of you who were logged into Twitch. Super cool. And so I'll pull out the old D237, and it's a good time to spend your bennies and cash in on any karma that you've been storing up. And this will roll through and we'll pick 2 of you as winners for the stream. Good luck, folks. Can I get a drum roll from the group? All right, here we go. Here we go. Ooh, Valmeren, Valneren, Valmeren, number 225 is our first winner, and our second winner. Only got it to see Civil Savage, 880.
Oh, good deal, Civil Savage. Yay, Savage people.
So, I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll keep an eye out in chat to see if those folks are around to accept their winnings. Hopefully, if you're here, then you've won, and you should say something. And
You're a winner.
Valmeren and Civil Savage. And if someone isn't here, well, then maybe that gives someone else a chance.
Let's see.
We'll ping them or something and give them a second to see if they are around.
Lots of super comments. So while we're waiting for the Civil Savage and Valmeren to let us know that they're here, let us know that you're out there, people. Check out, this is the promo for the Flash Gordon Moons of Mongo live actual play. You can see there's Cheyenne in the middle with his attack eyebrows. Amy is going to be on that stream, and which is awesome. And we're also going to be joined by Taylor Van Biljon, who's got the wonderful bubblegum, and Candace McAfee and Neil Hyde. So it should be a good time this Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern at this same bat channel, the same bat time. Not actually the same bat time, much later in the evening at 8 p.m. We're early today. But yeah, here's the promo for Cheyenne and his attack eyebrows. Tune in for that. The Flash Gordon, for those of you who don't know, Flash Gordon is on GameOnTabletop.com right now as a crowdfunder. We'll throw that link into the chat. It's a wonderful, pulpy space romance RPG based upon the original Flash Gordon comics. And there's a great box set. If you didn't get in on the original Flash Gordon, this is a booster box with 2 new full-length adventures, like 32 pages total on those. And then there are still a handful of the original Flash Gordon box sets available that come with the awesome cliffhanger token that was specially made for that campaign. So if you guys have not gotten in on that, I will throw it into the comments.
Nice.
Sybil
And,
Savage, thank you for letting us know that you passed on that. So Andrew, we got to draw one again.
All right, here we go.
We're going to send Sybil Savage.
Doc Arcane, number 61. If you are a winner, and this applies to you as well, Sybil Savage, it's not too late. If you are a winner, you can also transfer your key to a friend. So that's always something you can keep in mind if you're a winner. But
Is Doc Arcane, isn't that Cheyenne himself?
I think that's Cheyenne.
I think it's Cheyenne.
no, speak of the brows.
We happen to have one.
Yeah, Cheyenne can't win. We'll give him a free copy anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, let's roll again. Bonarvici, number 30. Yeah, so the cool thing about these rollable tables is that like you can track which results have been drawn. So like it's not gonna draw the same person again because they'll get like locked off. Bonarvici is a winner. So I also don't think we heard from Valmerin, so I'm going to roll again, and we'll just keep rolling until we get.
I'm still looking for Valmerin. So.
And so everyone who's already been drawn, even though we're not giving you a key because you already have them, contact us at info@peginc.com, and we will give you some free merch from Peg too. So
that's so cool.
No one loses.
Oh, that's really nice of you.
And we know where Cheyenne lives. We'll just send him.
Oh, there's Bonarvici.
All right, we got Bonarvici.
Excellent.
Winner.
Yeah.
Winner. Foundry.
Hit us up. We'll get you some Peg stuff.
What rhymes with winner? That's Foundry related.
Message me on Twitch. Just message Peg Inc. on Twitch with your email, and I'll get that stuff to you.
Winner, dice that shimmer.
That's good. That's good.
There we go. Okay.
That's why they pay me the big bucks. Yeah, so
Nice.
guys, Foundry's pretty amazing. So I'm a new convert. I've dabbled in all of the VTTs, and I like them all for their own reasons. I like children, right? Like, you don't tell people which one you love the best. But it's so much fun seeing what other people have done with Foundry. It's pretty amazing. The lighting, all the modules. We had Joseph Schnur on. You can, if you haven't seen that episode of Virtual Table Talk, it is on our YouTube channel. So go to YouTube for the Pinnacle Entertainment channel, and you can catch up with Joseph. Joseph kind of did us a walkthrough and showed us some of the fun features. And he's a wizard with it. Cheyenne's a wizard with it. So it's like, if you too, Harry Potter, want to be a wizard, get the coolest wands in town. And there's a lot of cool wands to play with Foundry. Is that a blast template? Are we gonna fry somebody? Is that what's going on now?
We're gonna try and fry the Wendigo.
Fantastic. The Cheyenne did all the add-ons, right? Like 80 some. I mean, we're not even joking. Like, you can, when we pull up the pre-stream, we'll just show a screenshot.
He's a man who knows what he wants, and he's managed to get it accomplished on his table. So
and he wants it
perfectly
all.
acceptable.
He wants it all. In honor of Drago, in honor of Scorch. So the cool thing about Foundry, and Cheyenne showed this to me, is with the built-in features and with some of the modules, you can literally have like ray gun effects, lightning effects, fire effects that when you do a spell or a ranged attack, it'll play animation, it'll play sound, it'll do the zappy. I'm like, oh, this is almost the level of like build your own video game. I mean, that's just fun stuff. And,
or you can just get all MS Paint and draw your own.
Everyone likes MS Paint.
Draw your own purple ray gun.
Blasty stuff.
If that floats your boat.
My players usually draw other things, but
well, yeah. There is always that the time-honored tradition of people being 13. Did we end up with a second winner? Did we hear from EMP Fingers, or should I go one more round, once more to the well?
Once more to the well, my friend, and then how do people?
Once more. I haven't heard anything.
All right.
We've got Bonarvici. Do they need to give us an email? How should they ping us?
I'll let you know in a second. I do have another winner from Endless Nights, one of our longtime community members, Endless Nights. I actually think maybe won a license before on one of my streams, if I recall correctly.
That person's gonna buy me a lottery ticket.
I don't know.
Wait,
Maybe
EMP just answered and said, "Wait, what?"
Oh. Well, we'll see. We'll see if EMP Fingers is still here. I know that Endless Nights has a license, so we'll see.
What?
EMP Fingers, if you're interested, you are the winner of a Foundry Virtual Tabletop software license. So for you and for Bonar Vici, it will be
exactly a year ago today. Wow.
Oh my gosh! What you'll need to do is create a account on the Foundry Virtual Tabletop website. Just register a user account and then shoot me a DM on Twitch. So my username on Twitch is Foundry VTT. I am in the, sorry, that's going to screen share my Twitch stream. I better not do that. But yeah, send me a DM on Twitch and let me know the username of your user account that you created on the Foundry website.
Oh, wait. Definitely wants that key, EMP Fingers. So thank you.
Okay,
Gotcha.
You bet.
We got it. Thank you, guys.
Endless Nights is a cool story because Endless Nights won their Foundry license key like a year ago during our actual launch. Yeah, during the original launch. I remember they were one of our stream winners back then. So
Endless Night, shoot us an email, info@peginc.com, and we will hook you up with some Peg merch.
Awesome.
No one who wins goes away empty-handed or empty EMP fingered. So let's see. Next big question: what do you see over the next year? I mean, there's been so much growth over this year. COVID threw a wrench in a lot of people's plans, but you guys picked it up and ran with it. We've seen an explosion in kind of the VTT and the playing. A lot of people are asking, when is the next Deadlands thing coming? All those are being worked on. Amy, don't pressure Amy; she's too nice to give you guys dates. But
I don't know about that.
Tomorrow, right?
I may not be nice, but we're working. We'll put it that way.
Tomorrow on so for those of you who want to know the updates, Pinnacle Link has a newsletter every Tuesday. Peginc.com, there's a link you can sign up to our newsletter. Those always get announced when they are released and then not a minute before. Just because if we don't have a link to send you guys to, people get confused. They're like, why are you telling me this is going to be here in a week? No, we wait till we have a link for you to buy it. And that's so much easier, and everybody appreciates it. They can literally just go and click and get it, and then it's done. So we generally don't announce those beforehand. And we know it's tough. We know it's tough to not give you guys a bigger schedule. But pretty much every week for the last 85 weeks, we've been giving out VTT launches. So tomorrow there are big announcements on stuff that are coming to all the different VTT platforms. So join the newsletter, and you will hear tomorrow what's available. And but all those
our awesome queen of the newsletter.
Right, all those are being worked on, folks. So especially Headstone Hill, I want to play that one. None of those are on the back burner. And there's also just the big stuff in Pathfinder is being worked on. A lot of those you guys have to realize until they go to the printer, we don't give them to our team to start on, just because it makes no sense not to have at least your alpha version 1 print, whatever you call that, done before it starts getting into the virtual goodies, because there's just too much backtracking otherwise and updates that need to be done.
Especially with the licensing, right? Jody's explained in some of our other streams that the licensing in particular with Savage Pathfinder is such that, it takes a little bit longer for everything to get through the clearance process. And so we do the best we can, but that's all definitely in process and we're working on it. And all the folks who have been asking about riffs, it's in the queue. So,
well, I'm definitely going to need y'all to hurry up a little bit on Savage Pathfinder.
Right?
Fine.
Yeah.
Only because you asked.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. I'm excited as everyone else is about seeing how that comes together, and it's a really interesting thing. It's very cool. So.
Yeah, well, and so if all of you who are new to our stream, the Savage Worlds licensed Pathfinder, so there is now Pathfinder for Savage Worlds. There's an incredibly successful Kickstarter, and if you want to get in on that so you can get all the books to start playing Rise of the Rune Lords in Savage Worlds, the late backers, there is actually the bridge to the Pledge Manager is open.
Pledge Manager.
So if you either go from Kickstarter, you can click on late backers, but yeah, the bridge is open. And with that, I'll actually throw that into the chat. Let me get the link here for you guys. You can actually get into on the pre-order. So when those get to America and everywhere else, you can get in on that. So the Let's see. There we go. Here we go. Boom. So yeah, the PDFs. Nope, that's not me. There we go. This is the one. So that's the link. If you guys need it, if you go to Kickstarter, you can just search Pathfinder for Savage Worlds. There's a link on the Kickstarter to get this too. Or if you are already a Pledge Manager Pinnacle person, you can log into the Pinnacle Pledge Manager, and it'll be one of the projects that are there. But you can get in on that goodness, and that will be coming to all the VTTs. So that is super exciting for us to be able to bring their vision alive in our game system, and then use all of the amazing VTTs. And like one of the cool things is just the, like all the stuff you guys already have available for Pathfinder on Foundry, and all those assets, those like the digital assets, you can use them for Savage Worlds too. Oh wait, did you just walk through the tent and it went like partially? That's a neat feature.
It's just showing off very quietly in the background while you're talking.
Oh, it is too cool. It is
just
too cool.
Giving everyone some screen candy while you give them the important news.
So here's one. What do you think is the easiest thing to miss that Foundry can do that people like, but is perhaps not something that's like immediately obvious that you can do or use?
Well, I think one that's always pretty popular when people discover it is, suppose you're running a combat encounter, right? Where you've got, you've got all your folks who've drawn their cards for initiative and you're in the middle of combat. These sidebar tabs often, like, you need to keep track of the turn order, but you also want to see, what people are rolling in dice, or you want to like look up someone's character sheet. So being able to pop out the sidebar tabs, you right click on the icon and it'll make this little floating window that you can sort of organize however you want. Or if you want your dice rolls from chat, you can kind of separate out the chat log, and maybe you want that on the left side of your screen instead. And you can kind of come up with a little bit of like an interface layout that you like. And so being able to pop out those chat tabs to like a little floating window is something that you don't always know that you can do that until you like ask someone, or someone tells you to do it, or you do it accidentally and it's like, whoa, how did I do that?
How did I do that?
Like I did it once and it was awesome, and now I don't know how to do it again.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing, like, it's a little bit, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's hidden necessarily, but it's like until you know that you can do it, you don't know that you can do it.
And then you get your own like HUD, right? Just the way you like it. And
I think that's probably a good example. I think another one is maybe doing like multi-part token movements. Mm-hmm. So suppose like my guy here is gonna do this patrol route there, where he's gonna walk all the way around the camp, and being able to do these like multiple waypoints is it's pretty cool, and you just might not know that that's something that you can do. Oh, I've collided with walls. But so I wasn't able to complete my patrol. Let's see if I can there we go. I can do that one.
The Wendigo got you.
Yeah, I think it was one of the trees. I think I ran into a tree when attempting to patrol the camp. But yeah, basically, that's another feature that is one that you might not know about unless you've discovered it, is being able to execute on like a multi-step pre-measured path.
What keyboard shortcut are you using for that?
Yeah, sure. So I'm holding Control, and while I have Control pressed, that lets me create a ruler. And then while I have the ruler out, if I press spacebar, the token moves. There's also a ruler tool where you can do it without one of the clicks. By just switching to the ruler tool, you don't need to press Control. But if you want to create multiple segments like this, it is the Control key that allows you to make those multiple segments.
This is when my sister retcons and decides that she didn't actually go all the way. She just went to the third waypoint.
Yeah, so I mean, those are a couple that I don't know. It's another one. If I suppose, let me look at like Deadlands. Let's suppose that this place is called the Hunting Grounds. Now, it's probably not, but suppose it were. If I were to import that journal entry, you can pin specific locations on the map by dragging and dropping a journal entry. And I could give it like I could give it a skull icon, maybe, for example, and say like,
Lots of things in Deadlands try to kill you. That's
yeah, lots of things try to kill you. So, this could be the hunting grounds, and you have it pinned on your map. And so this could be a region map. It could be an area map. It could be a battle map like this one. And then you can open the journal directly from there. And there's a toggle. So if you toggle the note display on, the notes will stay visible while you're doing other things. You might not always want those notes visible. I don't know. Oops. I don't know what this unknown note is. I must have done something wrong. But yeah, so, if the toggle is off, the notes are only visible when you go to the notes layer. But if the toggle is on, then the notes are always visible.
Yeah, the map pins are super cool.
I'd be risked not to pimp out. So Cheyenne is actually running Savage Pathfinder tonight with Foundry. I believe it's on his Twitch channel. It's called Dice Tyrants. The campaign is called Dungeons of Discordia. So twitch.tv/Dice Tyrants, DICETYRANTS. So you can see Savage Pathfinder on Foundry tonight on Cheyenne, who's the amazing guy behind most of the a lot of the art for Pinnacle. He works with our amazing team, Aaron Acevedo, and of course Amy and all the wonderful people at Sigil to create beautiful things. And so yeah,
also a really good GM. So
and eyebrow game that's off the hook.
Nice.
Flo is our sheet main dev too. I'm glad you're in here, babe.
Shout out to Florian, who has done tremendous work on the Savage World system as one of our community devs.
Do you want to throw out some of the virtual bennies and show
bennies,
those?
From this
the very satisfying. Oh, we don't have the sound piped in. There's a very satisfying sound.
I was just actually showing off sound, and I wasn't sure whether it was piped in or not. But it's okay. That's all right. I think
if you can.
I just created this world. I think I need to enable the 3D dice so that I can make pretty pictures.
Awesome. One thing you can try while we'll take some questions from chat while you get that worked out is in the StreamYard on your cam and mic. If you change the audio you're doing from your microphone to maybe stereo mix, it might be able to pick up what's the mic on the sound on your computer. If you're not,
I'll do that in a minute.
That might work, but
I think
on the fly tech stuff.
Yeah, well, I got so many different dice aesthetics to choose from.
Oh, they're so pretty.
We'll go with.
Mine are always purple.
I like purple dice too. I'm a big fan of that, but I'll go with the red Blood Moon dice. We'll do a little test dice pool here and see that everything's working right. So nice, so beautiful.
It's such a satisfying thing.
Yeah, it is. So. Yeah. And then the bennies, I don't know, does that happen whenever I roll a coin, or is it whenever I do something specific off the sheet?
Should be able to just
I think it's whenever I do coins. Oh, yeah. Maybe not. So, I'm not sure if I have any to spend. These are non-player characters.
I was going to say, if you pull up a PC,
it's better make a player character. And then I've got some. So when I spend a Benny, it happened, but I didn't see a roll. I don't know. I'm probably doing something not quite right here. I need Florian to come save me.
There goes out there. No, it's now we know who to blame. That's kind of the great thing too about Savage Worlds on Foundry is there's a sizable community of the developers and the top fans. I mean, like Cheyenne himself is a super user, that the getting help is really abundant. And then it even knows how, like, here's the cool thing. So for those of you concerned, the Foundry knows all about how Savage Worlds dice mechanics work. Mm-hmm. So you can, when it aces, and when it's not an acing roll, it doesn't ace.
Yep.
Right. So all those things are built in, super nice. And that's kind of the other advantage too about using virtual tabletops. See, the 4 just ace, so we got another dice automatically pops out. And the nice thing about virtual tabletops is two things I really like about playing live with a VTT as an assistant. One, you can bring in the lookup really easy. It's also like a partner there as a rules lawyer. It doesn't act like a rules lawyer. You can just go and refer to things you need them. But that chat log shows the role log too. So if you have one of those creative groups that logs their campaigns, what happened over the night is just stored in that log, and it's super easy to go back and figure, oh yeah, this is what happened then, this is what happened then. Even if you're not like using recording software or anything else, just that little log of oh yeah, here's the notice checks, or here's the fighting rolls, or here's when the dice aced, or in Jody's case when they crit failed. That's super handy. It's just a kind of a log of what happened in your game to remember. And then even if you don't publish that, the instances of your games are saved over time. So when you guys come back in a week or a month and you kind of don't remember exactly where you left off, you can just look at the last 3 or 4 entries in the log and remember, oh yeah, you one-shotted the big bad guy, or you failed this stealth roll and we didn't go any further. So, that's a really cool feature that kind of, preserving that information over time. And it doesn't require any work on your part. So I really like that for even just keeping track of your live games. So.
Yeah, and with the chat log of all of those events, it's also really easy. You can export it to a file. So like I can save the whole log to like a text file that I can keep forever if you want.
That's super hot. Flo saying check your DMs. Flo, we already spoke. Lower the thirst. Don't be getting into this.
I think it was a legit one.
It was. But still, that's the only reason anyone has me here is to say crude comments and be charming while doing it.
We love it. Anyway.
So one of the actually, it's a question. Like here's the best part about this question. So we used to get a lot of like, I've already bought the book. Why do I have to buy the module? And now that people have seen what these modules do and all the built-in, we don't get that question nearly as often anymore. But it's like, oh, that's why I want to buy the module, because it's very pretty. The team makes it like between Cheyenne was bragging before he did some landing pages for the Headstone Hill one that he just did. So we have our top artists making these look great, and it's independent of the PDFs, guys. You got to realize it's not just like we don't hand them a PDF and they just scan the pages in or whatever, hyperlink it. It is all new formatting and layout, so it looks right and pretty and correct and high def on whatever browser you're using, on whatever platform you're using, whether it's Mac or PC. So that's the nice part about these modules is it's. And then you realize like there's a whole team. Like PEG has a whole VTT team of coders and organizers and artists and producers who make this stuff happen. And that's all that work additional even after the book gets to like send it off to the printer to get printed. So that's kind of why there's a charge for those things, is because it is really that content that requires custom coding. Coding ain't cheap, and they work so well. I mean, you can just see how immersive it is, how all the extra kind of tangential features that really kind of make it a better experience or a more fun experience to incorporate into
and a time saver. That's my thing. I mean, like even me building this stuff, I have limited amount of time to be able to tinker with my own games and things like that. And so just the amount of setup that is reduced by being able to use some of these assets and things like that is a huge time saver for me.
And all the cool kids are doing it. And then by that, I mean the community around this is really great, right? There are people that reach out to help you learn how to game master with these tools, who will sit in. And one of the cool things about this, like, we did this during an actual play shooting, is you can have your game master give game master privileges to someone who's a helper, and they can help you run, the game, work your way around it, see what comes up in the course of play. And I mean, not that I'm really volunteering all of our VTT folks to do that for everybody, but we're going to put more of that on stream so you guys can see how that's done, to see how that behind the scenes. Andrew's done a great job today of just showing how easy it is to click around, to use the interface. It's very intuitive. I mean, I think there's a lot of, if you've ever used any VTTs, the kind of right-hand bar and what the tabs are and what they mean should be very intuitive for people. On get your journal that talks about the places you can go, the settings and some of the settings, like in the game we have coming up on Wednesday, you'll see overhead maps like this that are very interactive, and then we'll also have scenes that are just a very pretty background pictures to give you theater of the mind to use, and you could still use all of the fun stuff like dice mechanics. And if you do end up in a combat, you can throw tokens down and just make sure you're marking wounds correctly. But you don't have, like, see, here we go, like a great little just a table with some cards. This is a great little background that you could just use for the theater of the mind, or if you're doing a duel, or you're doing one of the interior kind of core mechanics for Deadlands that doesn't require having a map. All those features still work though, so you can still have access to the record keeping. And that's another nice thing too, is the status effects. With the core and then with the modules, if you wound an enemy and they are shaken, it's super easy to note that on the character sheet. How many wounds they have, whether they're entangled, and you'll learn that shorthand really quickly. And if you don't remember it, you can just literally just mouse over and bring up, and it'll show you, just mouse over and leave your icon on, and it'll give you the name, like, here's shaken, here's, all those kind of cool things for the status effects. And that's what I always forget as a game master. I always forget when we're going around the table, if I don't have like an Aaliyah tools or some marker for, your character was entangled, or you were shaken and we already went 2 rounds, so we really can't backtrack and fix that. This takes care of it for you. And
one of our design principles too, right, is to provide the same information in multiple ways, right? People have different learning styles, people have different acuities, and so we try to provide a way for things to be both visually and textually represented, and then sometimes with colors or shapes, right? Because we want to make sure that this is accessible to as many of our players in the community as possible, and that's hugely important to my team for our design motivations, right?
Right, and in chat, there's some great comments. We won't throw them all up, but the suggestions for the best mods for Deadlands and Suede. Christian Serrano's got a great one, the Savaged US importer. So Savaged US is a website that has stores Savage Worlds character sheets. If you want to bring those stored character sheets, and a lot of like aces who put like Just Sort of Imaginations, Wise Guys, they have their characters from the book up on Savage US. If you want to bring those into one of your game, you can just literally use the importer add-on to bring in those characters, and they are already set up as characters in Foundry just to use. And and then I see probably at least a half a dozen other like Dice So Nice is really fun. That's the one that you can really start blinging out your dice. But that's it speaks volumes that in only a year, and I can't believe. I mean, not a very productive year for a lot of people. You guys have gone from launch to a huge community, a very supported, enthusiastic community. The updates are fast and furious. I mean, I know that sometimes if we break stuff, usually it gets fixed in a couple hours. I mean, like we literally just had one of our dev teams be like, oh yeah, Bennies are working again. Rolled out an update there. Like, that's how fast these guys work, and not always, but man, they're talented people. So, I mean, applause to you guys for, I don't know, to me, it's kind of unprecedented in coding. Like I went to school in Silicon Valley, know that world, and the responsiveness is very hard to do for small companies. And Foundry does an amazing job at that. And I mean, Pinnacle and Amy do an amazing job at that. So, I mean, I think that's worth noting, just that there's that level.
Yeah, thank you.
Support.
I mean, one thing to jump on that is, it's really interesting because we don't actually have the luxury of being able to roll out updates on your behalf. That is one of the challenges of being a self-hosted software. There's many amazing benefits of Foundry being self-hosted because you're in control of it. You manage your own data. You're not going to be, you might not have you won't have your game messed up because someone's has downtime scheduled at the time that you want to play.
Right.
And so there's so many advantages of it being something that you control yourself. But one of the disadvantages, one of the challenges of it being something that you control yourself as the host is that we don't push updates out to you. You choose when you want to update. And that's a good thing too, because you can choose, I'm not going to risk updating to this flashy new version like 2 seconds before my game. That's probably not a good idea. maybe I should try the flashy new version a couple days before my game where I can, make sure it's all working okay for me. But because it's up to you when and how you update, a lot of the reason we've been able to be have that kind of responsiveness that you mentioned is because the community has done such tremendous work to come up with mechanisms and ways to make that easy for people. It's not something that, like, our software has enabled it to make it easy to download and update to the Savage World system, but it's really the way that the community has used those tools and talked about those tools and made it clear for other users that makes that system actually work. And so it's as much on the developers and on the community for setting up those mechanisms as it is on us for, providing the update button.
So we're almost at our hour and a half. Do you want to plug, where can people find you again? And then also just you're doing several cool things this week for your 1-year anniversary. I think Amy might even be. Is Amy going to be on one of your streams? I think, isn't that what I read somewhere, that Amy was going to be on the Twitch for you guys?
Yeah.
So where can people find you this week?
That's right. So I guess first, just in general, you can find us on foundryvtt.com, which is our website. And then at the bottom, there are links to several different, socials where you can find us. So our Discord server, of course, which is kind of sort of our go-to. We are also on Twitter, which is twitter.com/foundryvtt. We have the community subreddit, reddit/r/foundryvtt. They're celebrating a huge milestone there. And then on the Discord server, we also have our schedule of all of the week's events. So tomorrow, the whole team will be live on Twitch, twitch.tv/foundryvtt. We'll all be live, the whole team, chatting about the past year and answering questions, hanging out, maybe doing some fun stuff. Later in the week, we've got some other events that are happening. And then this coming weekend, I'm going to be streaming a game on our Twitch channel where I'll get the chance to torment some of the esteemed members of the Foundry community, of which I'm blessed to have Amy as one of my players. Sacrifice. I don't know. We'll see.
He saved this because he's never had me as a player yet.
Well, and
there's all kinds of cool stuff this week.
And so if you didn't win one of our keys, you can still get Foundry VTT. It's on sale, a huge 20% off right now. So if you go to foundryvtt.com, only your game master needs to pick it up, and you can buy it for someone else. So if you're a player out there who wants to shove your game master into the world of running for you on Foundry, you can definitely give it away. But yeah, 20% off is pretty huge, and there's no code for that. It's just automatic. You pop on there and a big $10 off. And seriously, it is less than going out to the movies once for like a couple to buy Foundry license forever. So
it is so worth it. Oh my gosh, it is so worth it.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
So yeah, with that, guys, we appreciate all your questions. We will be back with Virtual Table Talk. We will definitely have Andrew on again. Him and his legion of followers. We appreciate all 300 of you who descended on the stream today or more. And check out foundryvtt.com for their 1-year anniversary sale. We can't believe it's been a year already, or only a year. It seems like we've been doing a lot longer, but it's been a year, and they have accomplished amazing things with these 12 months. And we look forward to seeing where you guys will be in another year. I can't even fathom how big that's going to be if it's already this big. Oh
man, yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine it either. So we better all just buckle up and see what happens.
Yeah, see how it goes.
So yeah, tune into the Wednesday. Oh, so later on tonight. So the rest of the stream for us guys, later on tonight, we are going to do a design corner with Donald Shepis and Scott Woodard, who wrote the Flash RPG for Savage Worlds that is currently on Game on Tabletop. So tune in tonight for that. And then tomorrow we've got Scott Woodard back again to talk about Hollywood and gaming on the Savage Fest.
Super
He's
talented.
A cool dude. And his wife is the one who makes the Mandalorian puppet, like the little
She
Grogu.
does special effects.
She does Grogu.
Oh my gosh.
So, it's hard. It's hard having like a spouse who's that cool. When you are already that cool. So
Scott is an amazing writer as well.
Yeah.
Right, and he just like top 3. Like Scott's so amazing that they had a poll on the top audio drama Doctor Who episodes And his came in, I think, third out of
Number 3. Yeah.
right, number 3. So that's pretty amazing. And he was really close to even the top ones. So Scott's an amazing dude. We'll have him on as Wednesday as well. There's a Reddit AMA later on in the week, I think on Friday. But then Wednesday night, I'll throw this up one more time. Our own Cheyenne Wright plus a lovely, amazing crew, including Amy, will be on an actual play that features Foundry VTT. That'll be Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And you will see Cheyenne's amazing additions to Foundry. The background is like in his version. That little background of our logo is the like the Flash clouds. It's animated. It's animated in his thing. He is that crazy. So thank you guys for joining us. You've been amazing today. We will have everybody back on.
Thank you so much, Andrew. It was great.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to get a chance to connect with both of you, and then with the awesome PEG community, and it's been a lot of fun. So hopefully we can do it again sometime.
And thanks for the giveaways, guys. Take it easy.